Welcome to the beautiful Laguna Caribe RV Motor Coach Resort in Fort Myers, Florida. Join us today as we learn of the sacrifices made by Justin Klemm, retired U.S. Army veteran.
These are the faces of heroes. Many still bearing the invisible wounds of war, PTSD, and trauma.
I left Vietnam, but Vietnam never left me. That's how I'm living.
Why did I come back?
Why are they gone and I'm not? You know, what have I done to deserve to be here?
Our mission is listening and hearing, helping and healing for those who sacrificed and those who continue to sacrifice. The mission today and every day is Operation Healing Heroes. Brought to you by Great Clips.
Hi, my name's John. I'm one of the developers here at Laguna Caribe, and we're happy to host Operation Healing Heroes. The resort is 137 units. As you can see, we've got a beautiful 5-star resort-style pool. We've got all the amenities you could look for. We've got pickleball, bocce ball, putting green, dog park. So we try to bring the community together. We got a full operational tiki bar and restaurant, so you can sit here and party with your friends. We've got fire pits. We've got every amenity you can imagine. We try to host everyone like you're a guest at Laguna Caribe in a 5-star resort.
Amid the tropical beauty of Laguna Caribe, Jay Garstecki joins retired U.S. Army veteran Justin Klemm for a game of cornhole, the sport that became his escape from addiction.
What'd you do growing up?
So growing up, really, I played a lot of sports. I played football, basketball, baseball. I grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania. So yeah, that competitive spirit is in me, you know, since childhood, you know. And now I'm on the cornhole courts, and you know, I use it as, you know, motivation. My competitiveness is an asset to me, you know.
So how'd you get into the military?
I was gonna join back when I graduated in high school. However, that didn't work out. So in 2003, I'm 20. I was working at a gas station, and a recruiter comes in, and basically I was a gift to him. I wanted to join the military, you know, and it was just like, hey, let's get this done and let's go. You know, I was ready, you know, right after 9/11. It was about, you know, honor, you know, being proud of America, you know. And it sounds like a cliche answer, and you know, it really was about that and doing something for the country, you know, that I wanted. You know, we're in a volunteer force, so us, you know, not everybody wants to do it, but that was a big part of it, you know, just, hey, holy crap, this is what happened, and let's go get some revenge. So at the time, you know, I was with my ex-wife, and she was not very supportive of what I was gonna do. You know, I kind of blindsided her of how, you know, going into the military, I didn't really talk to her about it. And, you know, going away with her, you know, with a new child, me going away for, you know, 6 to 8 months for basic training and then, you know, AIT, you know, it's gonna be difficult for her. My aunt and grandmother were pretty much my support. They didn't understand that I would still get paid. I just had this newborn baby. Now, what's going on? How are you gonna get paid? How are you gonna support a family? How are you gonna do all this? So, you know, that was in their head because they really didn't know, you know, the pay scale. And me leaving now with this young child, they were concerned, very concerned. I really had to prove something to myself and, you know, to my family that I could do this and, you know, actually have a career. Working at a gas station is not it, you know, especially, you know, back then, being 20 years old, I wanted to do something bigger. Be a better father, be a better, you know, husband at the time. And it was just the right choice. So when I joined in 2003, I joined the Pennsylvania National Guard. It's something that I felt in my heart that I wanted to do, and I joined to deploy.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Laguna Caribe RV Resort, and by Suzuki Marine.
Operation Healing Heroes is a nonprofit organization dedicated to documenting the lives of our U.S. military veterans. In addition, we also provide financial support and treatment for post-traumatic stress. Your donation will help heal our heroes.
Spurred by 9/11, Justin Klemm joined the Pennsylvania National Guard. He spent a short time recruiting before heading to basic training, determined to deploy.
So tell me about basic training. What was that like?
I fell in love with it. I started training in the unit, the 1st and 110th as an infantryman, and I loved it. You know, the adrenaline that you get off of kicking in doors, you know, and just training with your buddies and knowing that this is going to be life or death.
So when were you first deployed?
So my first deployment, funny story was, just like when I joined the military, they asked for volunteers, my hand goes up, you know, and it's just something I wanted to do. It got real when we started really hearing the reports of IEDs, snipers, and just, you know, large-scale operation, because that's right after Fallujah, and they pushed all those insurgents came out to Ramadi.
What do you remember about actually like boarding and starting to head out of here?
Every step of the way was a little bit more, you know,
Real.
anxiety, more real. Then we get on that plane to C-130 to go into Iraq. And now this is 2005, and no one knows. We're all in this, you know, no one deployed yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're going to Iraq, and all of a sudden I remember we were up in the air, and then vroom, it just drops. You know, it does a combat, you know, doing a combat landing, because at that time, you know, it was hot.
So after that type of landing, what was your fear level at this point?
I mean, I was shocked. I was scared, you know, like what's going to happen? Like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
But not until my first mission. We get on the road down Route Michigan, which was a hot road because we've been getting reports before saying, hey, IEDs here, you know, 13 IEDs, whatever, you know, they cleared. Route Michigan was the main supply route from Ramadi to Fallujah to TQ, all that. So that was a very important route just because the insurgents wanted to take us out of getting those supplies back and forth. So we would go out with EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team, which was a Marine team, and we were their security. What I remember is I'm driving, and now I have to drive with night vision goggles. Now this is something we didn't really train up on. It's all dusty, because it's, you know, it's dust, sand, whatever, you know, all that stuff we're breathing in. We were going to the 611 bridge, and I lost sight of the truck or vehicle in front of me, and everything just like stopped. Dust was everywhere. My NVGs were all messed up because I'm sweating, you know, all the sweat going into the NVGs. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Where are we? And that's where it really was like, okay, it's just the dust. And I wasn't used to the dust. So seeing the other vehicle in front of me, you know, eventually when the dust settled, and knowing that we were in a safer, secure area, which was the bridge. So that probably made my fear factor go up probably 1,000 times. That deployment was really hard. We lost, you know, between the whole brigade and everything, we lost 69 soldiers, airmen, Navy, and Marines, along with my team leader, Sergeant Tarando, with IEDs, with sniper attacks, with all that kind of stuff, and it's tough. A lot of it, you know, and back then, a lot of it I just put in a bag. I just put it away. And, you know, later in life, that bag became full. And it came out in different ways.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Blue Water Boat Club, and by Wiley X.
If I get one before him, can I rip the belt off and go run towards the pond with it?
Oh!
Yeah! If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes footage, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you'd like to learn more and go deeper into the subject of healing, tune into the all-new Operation Healing Heroes podcast, Feel the Heal. Hear from veterans, first responders, doctors, nonprofit leaders, and Gold Star families as they share powerful stories of hope, healing, and resiliency. Tune in and feel the heal.
After his second deployment, Justin Klemm realized that he was dealing with the effects of PTSD, throwing him into a struggle with addiction and substance abuse.
Being in the military, being in an infantry company, being, battle-minded, being this tough guy, if we would say PTSD, it was more like a crutch. We don't want to say we have depression. We don't want to say we have anxiety, and that's the biggest thing about, PTSD. My second deployment, second tour, I actually broke a part of my foot. So I come home, I get surgery on my foot, I start taking pain pills, and that's where the addiction started. I was getting 90 for 2 weeks or whatever it was, and I was taking all of them. And what it did for me was really suppressed a lot of things until they cut me off. And then I started buying them on the streets to where, I was buying, 20 pills, 30 pills, and taking them all. So in the midst of this addiction, I got promoted to E6 as a training NCO for Bravo Company 111th Infantry. As a person in addiction, in the trap, we're the biggest liars, cheaters, and manipulators. Being in a leadership position, the training NCO, I was the one that did the drug test. So I always knew when things were coming. So in my eyes, I was like, okay, well, I can be busy here, or I can do this to hide from it, to cheat the system. And it's something that still burns me because as a soldier, you're supposed to have integrity. It's a huge regret that I have and still weighs on me pretty hard just because I wanted to be that upstanding soldier. But on the other side, I wanted to feel good and still have a life of addiction.
So at what point did you realize that you were an addict?
So at that point, I didn't believe I was in addiction. But, the party always stops. What does an addict do? Let's go find something else to suppress more.
Right.
And that's where I found more stimulant. I found Adderall, and then I started doing cocaine and drinking. I'm buying prescription pills, and I'm thinking, the prescription pills are not bad. I'm not an addict, here doing cocaine here and there, whatever, it's just something. But I thought, it's good. I'm not an addict. That's not me. Some people won't believe me, but I took 15 Adderall pills, which people were like,
Should be dead.
I should be dead, and doing cocaine on top of it, drinking. And I went into a drug-induced psychosis. I was looking outside and I just started seeing people running. And then I thought, ISIS was going inside, the Iraqis were going inside the houses. My first reaction was, oh my God, I gotta keep my kids safe. I'm gonna build a sniper hide. So I had my gun, build a sniper hide in my daughter's old bedroom, which was like you could see out towards the street. I put a mattress up so no one could come up the steps, because in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm gonna put this mattress up, I'll be fine. This is 3 o'clock in the morning. I grabbed my son out of bed, I put him in a closet. Kid's 8 years old. I actually tried calling the cops, and I heard a busy signal, and I'm like, well, this is weird. They're jamming the phones and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, this is real. I actually called my ex-wife. She called the cops. I saw the police coming down. I saw an ambulance. Then I see a bigger vehicle, and I'm like, holy, they have the SWAT team here? Someone knocks on the door. I have my gun in my hand. I open up the door, and I remember seeing the officer. And immediately, I start crying. I'm like, what the hell did I just do? They walked me up to my kitchen. They took the gun, disarmed it. I was like, listen, I don't know what happened. I didn't want to tell them I'm on drugs. The lying again, the cheating, the manipulating. So I was like, I just had two of these IPA beers, and I don't drink a lot, and I thought I was, hallucinating. And then I had one of my E7s come. He was a little bit higher, he knew a lot of police, he knew a lot. He kind of like talked them out of it. Hey, don't take him. We got this. We're gonna handle this as the military. That was the very first drug psychosis and thinking, holy, you are an addict. because I could, up until then, I was great. You know, I was able to take these pills and do work and still be that great soldier, you know? At that point, I was like, I think I need some help.
Take a Vet Fishing was created for those who served our great nation. A simple day of giving back has been the mission for over 20 years. Visit takeavetfishing.org to sign up for an event near you.
If you'd like to recognize a special veteran in your life and see them featured on our website, log on to operationhealingheroes.org and click on the Recognize button.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, Laguna Carib RV Resort, and by SKB Cases. After experiencing a drug-induced psychosis, Justin Klemm realized that he could no longer live a secret life as a training NCO and a drug addict. He realized he needed to get help.
I got help. However, I relapsed. I stayed clean for 2 weeks. Now I find out I'm having twins. How am I gonna tell my family? How am I gonna tell people that now you're having twins? Now you're gonna have 5 kids with 3 mothers. They already know what just happened in an active addiction. So now my life isn't stable. Like, what are you gonna do with 5 kids? And in my mind, that's where I was like, you know what? I know what to do. Let's just suppress it. Throw it, you know, use more drugs. Go hard on the Adderall, go hard on the cocaine, and just drink it away. But 2 months later, I received full custody of the twins. 2017, my kids are now a year old, and I'm still living this double life. You know, 1 child's enough for anybody. Sure. Now I got 2 children, you know, that are babies. What do I know to do is how to get energy. What can I use? What can I get to, you know, just continue down the road of addiction, and let's, you know, get the hard drug of, you know, cocaine or Adderall. I was able to live that double life because I would basically say, oh, well, the twins kept me up all night. And I remember the day where I'm going into work and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't. The thought of suicide was there. Again, these delusions, these hallucinations, I thought everybody was against me. I thought about, hey, well, what happens if I just go down this road, you know, down this hill, or I hit this tree? But, you know, the thought and the actual action was more, hey, your kids need you. I went down to Virginia Medical Center, a military rehab treatment hospital, like for 35 days, to where I got clean. So after I got out of that treatment, I go up to a leadership school to where I'm gonna be teaching. I wanted to be a voice in recovery of, you know, being in the military as an active addict, but still keep my character of being real. I was going great till 2020, you know, 21. COVID hits. I'm working from home, teaching, you know, the basic leader course online. My course load got a lot heavier. I had soldiers in Kuwait, I had soldiers in, you know, Poland, and a lot of these times, you know, I would stay up to be on their time. I have 25 soldiers. I got to grade all these essays. I got to watch, you know, them do drill and ceremony. So I started dabbling again into Adderall. That led into doing meth. So I binged meth for 4 days. I went downstairs into my basement, and I thought there was people behind my walls. I'm just going through another psychosis of believing what I'm, you know, thinking. I start ripping all my drywall apart, going outside, being all, you know, like crazy. Eventually my neighbor, he called the cops. Luckily, just like years past, you know, the military saved me. What I remember the most is my twins hiding behind the couch when the cops came, being so scared, and seeing that, them scared, just destroyed me. So I've been clean since 2021, and cornhole has become my passion. Playing, you know, in these ACL, in the American Cornhole League tournaments, playing at local tournaments like the Keystone Cornhole, Sly Fox. Who would have thought throwing a bag in a hole would actually being healing mechanism, you know. And
But it gave you a sense of purpose. It gave you another sense of purpose in life.
any other veterans that are out there deceiving themselves, you know, lying, cheating, manipulating, going through the mental health, the substance abuse, we all have something that we can say we're going to do tomorrow. But it's about making that first step. The biggest thing is the first step, you know, admitting, you know, you have a problem.
If you don't mind, it's a small token of our appreciation, but I want to give you a couple things before I continue to beat you in bags. First of all, you're an absolute champion. Whether it's in cornhole or in life or in your addiction recovery process, this is for you. This is a cornhole belt here. It says Cornhole Hero. I hope you wear that proud.
Yes.
You got to look official also, so
Okay.
I got you your own Justin
God.
jersey with Klemm on the back here. I hope you wear this proudly.
I will, absolutely. I'll put it on right now. Look at this.
There you go.
Look at that. Cornhole.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Love you, man. If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org, and click on the nominate button.